Ma'am, we are live now. Let me share my screen first. Good evening, everyone. This is Piyush, welcoming you all to the talk of the show, to the bestest of the one of the bestest webinar here. Moving forward, I'd like to introduce the host of today's webinar, Madam Sadhana Gupta. See, apart from a lot of achievements she has, there are few to mention which makes her extraordinary among all the audience, all the crowd. Like she has been co-chairman of SAFOG and CD committee. She is also FOGSI representative to SAFOG 2018 to 2021, Vice President FOGSI 2016, ICOG Governing Council member 2015 to 2021, with Best Governing Council Award in 2021. Corresponding national editor and peer reviewer, three-time Corion Award winner for Best Scientific Research Paper 2002, 2004, 009, 4 times Best ICOG Research Paper, sole author of book Cesarean Delivery, Vaginal Delivery, a comprehensive textbook of obstetric and gynae, editor 7 Safe Motherhood Bulletin, awardee 3 times FOGSI Dr. DC Datta Prize. She has many more awards. With no further delay, I'd like to hand over the session to Dr. Sadhana ma'am to please proceed forward.
Thank you, Piyush, and a very good evening to all. Today is one of the very important days when we have none other than Professor Dr. C.N.Purandare is with us, and he has kindly accepted to give his exclusive time for 40 to 60 minutes. Dr. C.N.Purandare is an institution in itself and who have been working in obstetrician and gynecology field and in the FOGSI. We know him very, very well. It is a great pleasure to have you, sir. A warm welcome, Dr. Purandare, for this and a gratitude for your kind acceptance. So,
thank you for inviting me, Sadhana, and I'm happy to be here today.
So it's not easy to introduce Dr. C.N.Purandare. So we will give a brief review of his life journey in the profession, in the family, and in all international professional organization, and finally, his own very self. We all are eager to listen to you. It is a great pleasure to have Dr. C.N.Purandare with us. He has been born to family of obstetrician and gynecologist in Mumbai, famous Purandare family with a legacy of serving women for nearly a century. He had his medical graduation and post-graduation from TN Medical College and Nair Hospital in 1978. And then he proceeded for further studies and experience to Republic of Ireland. And he has been the first Indian to do MAO, that is Masters in Art of Obstetrics. And at that time, when we were not all and aware of any labor analgesia concept, he specialized in labor analgesia as well. However, he returned to India in 1983 and practiced at Purandare Hospital in South Mumbai as well as Andheri West, and visiting surgeon and obstetrician to many, many private hospitals in Mumbai. We see a young emerging gynecologist and a young family man in his beautiful photograph, which he has kindly shared with us. Then his career in teaching started. He was appointed as an honorary professor Ob-Gyn at Grant Medical College and JJ Hospital, where he worked for 20 years and has been a sought after teacher for generation of students and colleagues. You can see the young Dr. C.N.Purandare and many, many students who are now an eminent leader in themselves. After that, his journey in the professional bodies started. He was President Mumbai Ob-Gyn Society in 2004, served as a Secretary General FOGSI for 5 years, and we all remember Dr. Purandare's tenure as a Secretary General FOGSI for his discipline, for his decorum, and for being just to everyone. He was President FOGSI 2009, and he has served as the Editor-in-Chief for General Ob-Gyn India, and he is Emeritus Editor till date. In ICOG for 9 years, he gave a lot of initiative for the Indian College of Obstetrician and Gynaecology, including the combined exam for the MRCOG and MICOG, and currently Emeritus Dean of Indian College of Obs-Gynae. Has been a proactive in the social welfare and the social programs. Numerous projects he has coordinated, like ICOG, audit of maternal mortality and near miss review in India, which is so very important for our country. As a FOGSI president 2009, his theme was saving lives, and he worked tremendously for maternal mortality, prevention of cancer and HIV by pan-India workshop in FOGSI member societies. Part of many initiatives like cancer detection camp for Mumbai Police, gynecological diagnostic camp, National Family Planning Initiative, and his knowledge, experience, and administrative skill has been a great asset, which have improved medical education and promoted universal healthcare world over. A journey of dedicated service of half century was recognized by Government of India as he was awarded Dr. B.C. Roy Award for being excellent teacher, Emeritus Professor of Institute of Research at Moscow, Russia, Emeritus Professor Ob-Gyn at Grant Medical College, and Lifetime Achievement Award by FOGSI and Indian Fertility Society, beside recipient of Rashtriya Gaurav Award, Lakshmi Bai Adik, and Dr. C.N.Purandare Excellence Award. Being a FIGO president is a dream for always. It is a very, very tough journey, and he has been the FIGO president, one of the most dynamic president of FIGO, who made the FIGO a very, very remarkable organization. We were with him at the Brazil from 2015 to 2018 with the extraordinary scientific program and the social networking which we had in his presidency as a FIGO. He has represented FIGO on UN, WHO, and PMNCH board. He has been recognized at international levels at many fronts, awarded honorary fellowship first by our own country, that is National Academy of Medical Science, and more than 4 countries, which include ACOG, Sri Lankan College, European Board College, German College, Emeritus Association of Ob-Gyn, Fellowship International Association of Human Reproduction, and he has been the member of Romanian, French, and Colombian Ob-Gyn Association. His all photographs with the Health Minister of Afghanistan, with the President of Taiwan. He has launched the cervical cancer app, where we can see our own Dr. Nija Batla and Dr. Arul Kumaran, and at the Vatican with his wife. We can see the beautiful photographs and his impressive journey at the vast international platforms. He has left a great legacy, and this is going on. It is a family which is dedicated to women health. His son and daughter are settled abroad. You can see the personal, warm person in these family photographs, where he have transmitted the great legacy of his family as well as his country. And it is not the legacy which he has been transmitted to his family. It is going on the inspiring generation of friends and followers for all the ages. You can see the elder one, the senior one, and the young one, that how we can achieve excellence. So thank you very much, Dr. C.N.Purandare, for this impressive journey and being what you are. And with this, the audience is eager to listen to you, that how your journey started. So, Dr. Purandare, the first question is that many times we think that it is a legacy which we inherit and it makes our road to profession and professional body easy. So how do you think that in your journey, when you have inherited around a family which has served as a OB-GYN for around 100 years, how did you take this legacy? And it was a easy, or it was a tough, or it was a responsibility? What it is, how do you take it?
I don't think that I ever looked at it as something that I had to take it forward or anything like that. It just happened. And I mean, if you ask me how I became a doctor, that's a big story by itself, because my father was a civil engineer and he wanted me to do engineering. And I was in the engineering school. I did my 11th standard with workshop technology, machine drawing, electrical and mechanical engineering. We never did any history, geography in the school. And at the 11th, it was the engineering subjects that I did. And everybody thought that I would be doing engineering after that. And it was only after first year science that in India we had to choose between going for mathematics or biology. And I shifted over to biology while traveling from home to the college to submit my form. I changed that A to B, which means I was going to biology and not to the mathematics. And I came home and I told my father that, well, I've changed my line. And he said, fine, if you feel that that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. And what prompted me to do that is also very interesting, because I was in the 9th standard, I think. So my grandfather was very ill though that time in 1964. And he was being looked after by just who's who, the top people from Mumbai, because he was one of the senior most obstetrician and gynecologist, even though he was 87. My uncle B.N.Purandare was, and B.N.Purandare both were also renowned obstetricians, and their senior colleagues were looking after him. And when he passed away in 1964, I as a child kept on thinking that why couldn't they save him? And that time I decided that I'm going to change my line. I'm going to do a doctor. And that's how I didn't have the courage to tell my father when I was 9th standard student, to tell him that I'm going to change my subject. But finally found the courage after first year science and moved into medicine. And I went to Nair Hospital, did my MBBS and MD and so on. So, but on the way, even doing my undergraduate and postgraduate days, these days are never, what should I say, they're always storms, because you're going through different systems, and you have these different examinations and so on, the postgraduate training that takes place between registrars and lecturers. We all are aware of how different bosses, who's squeezing whose neck, you can never know during the whole process. But it was a pleasant experience in the end. I had two fantastic teachers, and one was Dr. S.S. Thakur, who was also vice president of FOGSI and the president of MOGS that time, and Dr. Belvi, who was the consultant at Bhagwati Hospital, where I worked for some time as a registrar. And there are people, and there are people who are behind you to mold you. Means when you look at it from the postgraduate and undergraduate point of view. And it was the obstetric gynec work that I learned in Nair Hospital under Professor Thakur. And the confidence of doing surgery, which I got from Dr. Belby, was something which carried me in a great way further on when I went abroad. And I went first to England because of a very interesting scenario. I finished my MD, and I was married that time. I mean, my father-in-law insisted he was going abroad on a deputation, and he said that, well, if you want to continue the way you are, you have to get married to my daughter. Otherwise, um, I'm taking her away. So I got married even before I finished my MD. And when I was at one of the dinners at their house, and Professor Aru Mulgaonkar, I don't know if any of the younger generation would ever hear of that great man. He was the guy who devised the Mulgaonkar forceps, which was a modification of Keelan's forceps. And he was there for dinner, and he said, young man, what are you doing here in India? You must come to England to for further education. And he gave me in his hospital first assignment, and I landed up in Basingstoke Hospital with him. And when I said that I was interested in labor analgesia, because that was the newest thing in those days in early 1980s. And he said that if you want to really learn labor analgesia, you have to learn from the best. And the guy who is the best is in Ireland. So I hadn't even heard of the place but he said, this is the address. I've written to him, and you go and meet him. So I took the ferry, went to Ireland from UK, and landed up in Galway in the University Hospital, and waited for this gentleman who walked in. And I was in front of him, and he's trying to tell him that I've done my India and whatever. And he was sitting there and listening to me while he was reading the letter from Aru Mulgaonkar. And he said that, well, there is a postal strike here, so I have not received this letter, but good, you brought this letter with you. He said that if Aru Mulgaonkar feels that you are good enough to work with, we'll start your work from tomorrow. So you can imagine the importance of recommendation that goes in those countries, that they value somebody. And Aru Mulgaonkar was Indian, he was Irish, and they worked under Professor John Bonner as a lecturer at that time. John Bonner was the Nuffield professor in Oxford in those days. And I just started working in Galway. And with that, he never let me go. He said that we are not going anywhere. In spite of everything, I wanted to go back to England. He said, no, you are not going anywhere. You're going to work with me. And he, at the end of it, he said, are you interested in becoming a consultant here? So I was into minds whether to come back to India, stay there, where the consultant job was offered to me. And there was a FIGO conference in San Francisco that time. And on your way to San Francisco, C.N.Purandare dropped in at Galway to demonstrate some surgery, prolapse surgeries and so on, because I had organized that in the university hospital. And with him was Dr. Jai Dhurandhar. I don't know if any of you remember another great gynecologist from Mumbai. And he said to me, why are you continuing here? Why don't you come back? So there was a dinner at Fergus Meehan, who was my boss, his place, and C.N.Purandare was saying that he said that, well, I want him to stay here as a consultant. If anybody asks me whether I would take C.N.Purandare as a junior consultant in the hospital or this young man, I would prefer this young man, because I know what he is capable of. So we finally decided, my father said, no, why don't you come back? And so I came back, and that's it. Came back in 83 with the hope that if things don't work, maybe I'll go back again. And uh, I was completely on my own that time, in the sense, even though I was working in Purandare Hospital building, I practiced independently, not with anybody else. And I established myself independently, and then got the consultant job in honorary professor in JJ. And the rest, I'm sure a lot of you know the history that has followed after that.
Thank you. It was a real, like what if we can like have a like insight into the like a psychology as a child. And I think with your this like vivid memory of the childhood, the sickness, and how the human relationships in medicine can attract even a young child, that how important these phases are, and we can have a career while we serving the humanity and coming like from engineering to the biology at your own. So it speaks volume of your like always thoughtfulness. And secondly, that you never, though we think that anybody can think that it is a Purandare's family, but every decision was yours, even taking from engineering to medicine, then taking the subject, and always like looking into what we can say, you responded to call of your soul, whether it was going to Ireland and then coming back to India. And everybody, like what we say, like at Ireland, he preferred you to stay as a consultant in his hospital. So that speaks volume of your hard work which you have done in the initial years, and what you emphasize, that I worked independently in Purandare Hospital and I did we did all the hard work. So it is the message is that nothing is given to you on the platter, nothing makes you the road easy. One have to always respond to your nature, and one has to do always hard work, so that the people really appreciate you and recognize you as a person of a matter. So it was a real insight into the childhood. Many of us were not at all aware of all these, and I think everybody will be very inspired to listen to you. So you came back to India and you have started. So with your journey as a teaching in a JJ hospital and the Grant Hospital, we often listen to the stories that you took the extra class in the evening for the student, and you have and everybody was craving for these classes, and they were all free of cost. So tell us, Dr. Purandare, that when every obstetrician gynae think that they are so busy, and how they will have the balance, they have the practice, they have the government job, they have the family. How could you take that extra time to teach in a different way, and that too without cost? So just share your experience as a teaching faculty and as a from assistant professor to the emeritus professor, how it was different.
I've always enjoyed teaching. I mean, it's right from my registrar days to my consultant and as honorary professor or whatever it is. I've enjoyed teaching. And I used to teach even in Ireland, all the residents, I used to take regular lectures for them. The midwives, I used to teach them every Saturday morning. I would go there and take a 3-hour lecture to all the midwives there. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed teaching. And when I came back to India, there was one very important incident that happened in Ireland, which changed my attitude to life, I would say. One day I was, the very first day, as a matter of fact, in the operation theater, Professor Meehan asked me to join from the very next day, and I went there to the theater. And I was waiting outside, and he said, "Why are you waiting outside?" So I said, I don't even have registration to practice in this country. You told me to come this morning, yesterday, and I just walked in here this morning. And that's it. So he said, you don't have a registration? I said, no, I don't have a registration to practice in. He said, hold on. You imagine the power of the consultants and their, what should I say, respect that they had in their own respective country. I don't think we can do that in India. Even today, I won't be able to do what he did that morning. He called up the Irish Medical Council and he said, this is Fergus Meehan here. Who's there? Registrar? He came on the line. He said, take down this name. He took down my full name from on a piece of paper. He said, CHITTARANJN. He read the whole name, Chittaranjan Narahari Purandare. And he said, I want a registration to be faxed to me in the next 5 minutes. He will pay the amount later. And you won't believe it. In 5 minutes in the office, there was a registration certificate that came in that I was registered with the Irish Medical Council. This was in 5 minutes that it happened. He picked up that paper, gave it to me and said, now you are registered. Go in the operation theater. So this was something which was unbelievable. And I mean, I went before going into the theater, he asked me, what have you done? I said, I've done a couple of hysterectomies and some major operations and cesareans and everything I've done. So he said, what is your definition of a couple of hysterectomies? So I said that I've done about 200 major surgeries. So he said, 200 major surgeries? I said, yes. And I have done 5 radical Wadhans hysterectomies. So he said, don't ever tell anybody that you have done radical hysterectomy. Otherwise, they'll think that in India, anybody does anything. The next case is a vaginal hysterectomy. He said, would you like to do that? And I was doing it after a gap of nearly 1.5 months. And I said, yeah, certainly, why not? And he said, I will assist you. And I scrubbed up and I started doing the vaginal hysterectomy. And he was assisting me. I completely forgot that he was assisting me. And I was tapping on his instrument, saying, open and close, open and close. And I was just ligating and suture. And in 15 minutes, the uterus was out and I was about to close the vagina. And he said to me, can I go now? I suddenly realized that the boss was assisting me. So I said, of course, sir, I will finish this. So I finished and I came out and he said, would you like to have tea, coffee? So I said, no, I'll help myself, sir. So he said, first, let me tell you something. My name is not sir. My name is Fergus Meehan. I am Irish and I have no intention of being knighted by the British Queen. And I would not like to be called sir. Just imagine like our Indians who were so patriotic. He was patriotic Irish. And he said to me that you have done the surgery, you have worked. I should be giving you a cup of tea, not you making it and giving it to anybody else. And that taught me a great lesson that it's a teacher when you are working with your team. If you work in with due respect to everybody, to your juniors as well, and that is the key really to that greatness that you can achieve. So when I came to JG, the first thing that I did was that none of my students, Nandita Palshatkar now, who's been the president of FOGSI and the FIGO representative, she has been my house officer. And many of them, those who have worked with me and have been in MOGS, in FOGSI and so on. And Madhuri Patel, who is now the Secretary General, has been my junior in the department, in the unit. And every indoor day, after the round was over, it was a ritual that I would take everybody to the canteen and the morning tea, soft drink, whatever was on me. It was my treat to all my juniors every week on the indoor day.
Great memoir, and I'm really like, it is such awesome that you have such a vivid memory that it is like going through our eyes like a movie. Like you're coming, it can be a great classic movie. We can plan some way that you waiting as the Ireland and getting certificates, and miracles do happen. If what we can learn, that if we have a good intent and we have a like a confidence, the miracles do happen. Like the surgeon, like who you get the registration right between 5 minutes. And the very, very important thing, what it has been emerged through our conversation, that making a very positive, respectful environment for our juniors, for our students, for colleagues, and everyone in the team. So a great learning it is, because many times what we are having this challenge, that when the people like after passing NEET, they go through the Ob-Gyn. No, Ob-Gyn, it is very toxic, and there is a lot of scolding. Always there is so much of chaos in this thing. And why, like, what your experience and actually what your all message, what your all talks gives us, that we have to bring the best people to the obstetric and gynae. And for this is so very important that we create a positive mutual learning and the mutual respectful environment. And you learn what is that you learn from every experience, and you have a gratitude for everything, like giving a cup of like making a cup of coffee to you, and taking permission from the from a senior person, from a teacher to the student, that may I go. And that talks a lot about you, that you don't forget anything which has been done good for you, and you take this legacy, that this goodness passes on and on and on to the generations. Great, every word is so like a golden to listen with. And then your journey started from a teacher to the FOGSI professional body. And like I have also seen you, my journey also started around 2009 in FOGSI, and we have a great memory to have you from the various posts of FOGSI, and especially the FOGSI Secretary General. So FOGSI Secretary General gives you this post, gives you opportunity to interact with all societies pan India. And actually, you have been one of the key person who gave me the initial opportunities as faculties in the Saving Mothers and various programs. So how you could pick up the people? How what is your like secret, that how could you pick up the people that they will be good, they are sincere, and what qualities you think are the most important when you allocate certain responsibility to any person?
Well, my journey really started with MOGS and then FOGSI because of Dr. V.B. Patwardhan, who was the consultant under whom I was the assistant honorary in JJ Hospital. And he took me as his joint secretary when he became the president of FOGSI. And he was a great man. His vision really prompted me to go ahead in MOGS and FOGSI and so on. And I somehow have uncanny, what should I say, insight of I can smell and I can see somebody miles away who's good and who is not good. And then I can I keep those who are not good away from the organization, because I feel that you need people who should nurture the organization, who should look after their organization as their own baby. And unfortunately, sometimes I have seen in the recent past people coming in and then a mess happening everywhere, and it disturbed me that when everybody, if you start working for yourself only, means if Sadhana Gupta loves Sadhana Gupta, then nothing is going to prosper. You have to look at it, the organization as your parent organization, which you need to really bring it up. And when I became the treasurer, FOGSI, it was 20 lakh rupees minus. Money had to be brought back from even income tax department. Why we were paying income tax, nobody knows. And the treasurer just kept on signing things, and they didn't even know what was in the accounts that were happening in FOGSI. So from that to today, what it is, when you talk about 50 million plus organization, one of the richest organization, and it's not the money which is there, but look at the office, look at the 10,000 square feet of accommodation now available, where we can even start a medical school, which was my ambition, that we should have a postgraduate training institute at FOGSI, which should happen. And if the MICOG, if we can get the equivalence of an MD, that's what we are looking at. I'm not saying that we should run a MD OBGY, but your MICOG should have equivalence of MD. So somebody who is MICOG can work as equivalent as MD. That is something which one has to look at. And the five, as the Secretary General and so on, as you mentioned, you have to respect people. There is you have the audience, which is say a managing committee, which is maybe 80, 90 people. You may not like the 10 people who are behaving rudely or not appropriately, but respect them. And I mean, they are also gynecologists, they are also consultants. You cannot brush aside anybody, and that is what is the hallmark of a good Secretary General, who will balance everything, and you make sure that just decisions and just things are done in the organization to bring the organization up. And it's not favoring A or favoring B or whatever. And if you start undercurrent working to make sure that only your friends prosper, that's not organization. In organization, you have to see that the whole organization prospers, and the people, everybody prospers. I mean, it's not isolation of people to say that these are the only 5 people who are my people, who will, the remaining 90 are useless and they will not be given a chance. That's not the thing that, but yes, rules are to be followed. There you cannot break rules, and you cannot allow rules to be broken by others in organization. Organization must have bylaws, rules, and follow those rules. Discipline is absolutely must in an organization. And if you don't have that discipline, you will not have a good organization.
Thank you very much. Actually, what you say, this is what we can say, the gist of all your experience, like working for professional body. So one thing, be it a teacher, be it as a student, and be it as a professional organization office bearer, actually what we learned, that we have to give much extra time selflessly for the professional body what we are serving. We have to be intelligent enough to deal with the finances, and we have to be very, very open and generous because all administrative posts need the equality, that we must be equal to everyone. You may like it. It is nothing like any like friendship or foes. All are our members, all are representing some way, and we have to give the equal opportunities. And likewise, the discipline, which is a real core of organization. If we really want to say what you say, that if we don't have discipline in ourselves, that no government or the other professional bodies or the other NGOs are not going to respect us. And involving everybody, what you said, we will just like to have again a secret that you said, that I could smell like from a distance that he is good, he or she is good or not good. So any secret that you can say, that how you perceive this, is intuitive or something analytical or what? So one secret from you, how you pick up the right people for the right role and responsibility.
Yeah, well, it's commitments are something very important. You have to be committed to whatever. My wife used to say, JJ comes first to you, then FOGSI, and I'm the last person on your list. But then that's commitment. It means when you have taken some responsibility and gone ahead and taken the commitments and bring out the best of people, caliber into your organization in the right spot, so that the organization automatically grows in the whole. It doesn't have to be only from Mumbai. It could be from Gorakhpur or from anybody. And I mean, somebody who's good should be brought into the mainstream to make sure that the best of things are achieved.
So little bit about as your FOGSI presidency here. So saving lives was the theme, because we vividly remember it. So that time HIV was an emerging challenge. There are a lot of things were going for, and the maternal and child health still remains the issue. So how, like, the important thing is that we have the themes, we have the programs, but you could execute it so flawlessly that every society was supported by the FOGSI fund, that we organized these conferences, these CMEs, and we did at very small places. Even I remember to go very small places like Saharanpur, Bulandshahr for these conferences. So how could you manage this? Because what we say, the FOGSI was running in loss, that it was now 50 million plus, a lot of effort by you. But how your message, that how as a professional body we should be dealing with the finances, which makes us very important role, as well as it is a very important mean to disseminate knowledge to the far and wide in our country.
Well, I'll tell you something. It's in our days, as office bearers, and even for that matter, as wherever we went as speakers, nobody gave any money to us for even travel. And it was our own money that you were putting in and doing things. And today you find that people don't register till the last day, till they find somebody to put their registration fee, then only they register. Otherwise they don't, and they travel and they stay there, has to be taken care by. And I'm not surprised that the governments have come very harshly on everybody regarding this thing happening. And this is something which is was expected. That's going to happen. I mean, if you try to do things like that. But the organization, whatever money that is being generated, you have to generate in such a way that the organization flourishes. And that little bit of accounting background and little bit of importance of looking after the discipline in finances is essential to make sure that the money stays with the organization. If you start blowing up the money over things which are useless. And I started that if you collected money for anything from any of the organized, say pharmaceutical company, for example, maybe saving life, 15% of it will be retained by FOGSI. which meant that 15% of whatever, suppose collected about, I remember during my presidential year, I collected about 5 crore rupees from various projects that were taken up, but which meant that 15% of that was about 75 lakh rupees, came to FOGSI in their coffers. So that is what is really something which, as a Secretary General, as a President, you have to look into to make sure that that happens to build up the organization.
Thank you very much. Because first is the setting priorities. What was the wonderful with your tenure, that what was at that time, what we have the key challenges, what our country was facing, a lot of HIV, and that always the maternal mortality, which was very high, and setting the priorities and then planning the thing, and then how the people support you, how you can make best out of it, so that actually you utilize this for not only for the FOGSI as a organization, but to reach every society. That benefit was reached to every society of the FOGSI. So this was something very wonderful and always to be remembered. Now, coming from FOGSI to FIGO, we have been the part and parcel of that, how you fought the election, and we were actually there when the counting was done and the result was announced. So the being a FIGO president, first of all, being elected, how tough was it? And then as your FIGO presidential tenure, how tough was it? It was like a very easy once you are get elected, or it was very tough to do the real change in the like what we see as a FIGO. So your journey for the election process of the FIGO, as well as your experience as a FIGO president.
Well, in 2009, I was the first experience going in for elections for FIGO, and I went to FIGO in Johannesburg, in Cape Town, and was standing for election with for the treasurer of FIGO. And I was completely new to this international scene of elections and so on, and I found that they are not straightforward. You have to have the insight of various countries, various religious backgrounds, the color, and everything that matters when you are going for elections at the world level. And I lost that election as a treasurer by 2 or 3 votes. It wasn't a big margin, but I realized that I learned what elections were at FIGO level. So in 2012, when I stood for election, I was planning to go for Secretary General or some such position. And at the FOGSI meeting, when I said that I want to go for the officer's position this time again, it was Asia Oceana's turn for the presidency. And I still remember that time P.C. Mahapatra was the president of FOGSI, and he said to me, CN, you are not going for any other post, but you are going for the president of FIGO. I said, just imagine, and I know what it takes to even stand for election and going for president of FIGO when 2000, the previous president was from India, Shirish Sheth. How do you expect me to go and fight? And he said, what difference does it make? At the most, what you lose. And you're not going to be president 10 years from now anyway. So just go for it. And I said, okay, fine. If you say so, I will go for it. And I'm sure all of you were in the council meeting that time, which voted me to go for the president of FIGO. Then the subsequent meeting where the things were challenged, and it went on till 2 o'clock in the morning before tapes were read out to say, yes, this was passed in the council meeting. And this is not President P.C. Mahapatra's underhand dealing with something and so on and so forth. Politics is everywhere. It's in India as much as in abroad as well. And when I stood for election, there were 4 people standing for election. one from Malaysia, one from China, one from Australia and New Zealand, and I was from India. And the Secretary General of the AOFOG called me up and said, "You withdraw your application." I said, "Why?" He said, "Last time it was India's president, and you have no business to stand for election. You're going to lose anyway." So I said, "It doesn't matter. If I'm going to lose, I will lose. What difference is it going to make?" But nobody can dictate to me what I should do. If I feel that I don't want to stand, I will not stand. But nobody should dictate to me, and you are nobody to tell me that I should stand or I should not stand. Well, that went very badly with that Secretary General of AOFAG, but I didn't care. And I mean, so what difference does it make? And when I went there for the elections, we had a lot of preparation done. I mean, I must compliment all my Indian colleagues, FOGSI colleagues who were there, and Shanta, and so many of them. They were like um, uh, a whole pack of people couldn't believe that there were 100 people who were running around saying that vote for him, that kind of thing. And I mean, this was unbelievable for them. And anyway, when the election took place, there were people inside. We were all sitting inside, PK Shah, Malhotra, and we were all there pressing the buttons there at the election. And it's an elimination round. Malaysia went out first. And then it was China, India, and Australia, New Zealand. And the difference was only 2 votes between China and India and Australia and New Zealand. And Australia went out. And that was completely shocking for the entire Europe, America, Canada, because they all gang up together. I mean, ultimately, it's America, Canada, USA, RCOG, and Australia, and New Zealand. They work together, and it means others don't exist. So they were quite shocked that a white person from Australia and New Zealand had lost, and it was China and India which were going ahead. And when it came to that, I think the entire Europe voted for me because the Chinese even couldn't speak English. And I mean, to be the FIGO president and an 80-year-old person going in for a FIGO president who couldn't even speak English. And I won 60-40. I got 60% of the votes, the world votes, and 40% were to the Chinese, and he left. And the Chinese, would you believe, had distributed bone china sets to all the presidents of the countries who were voting that time, 130 odd. That this is something which I said, I don't have the penny to go and give gifts to anybody. Leave aside, India has no money there to give, and we have to fight on our own steam. And anyway, but the best part in Rome, I thought, was that when I told the Indian, the Foreign Affairs Ministry that I was standing for election in Rome, they had informed the ambassador in Rome, and he arranged a dinner for important people and FOGSI at the embassy. And when the election was over and I came out, the ambassador was waiting outside the hall. And he came up to me and he said, "Congratulations to me for winning the election." And he said, "I am proud of you. You have defeated China today." So that was something which was it was great, and we all felt it that way. We were all there, and I remember when the voting was announced, it came on the screen that I had won the election. PK Shah was sitting next to me. He stood up and said, "Hooray!" And everybody was started wondering who this gentleman is, who is shouting at the top of his voice. And but it was great. It was great. Fantastic.
Was really,
Victory.
yes, it was great. And always, again, international elections are, be it a FIGO, be it a Oscar, it is a lot of lobbying, and always, yes, we cannot go away with the politics at any front, be it a small hospital or be it a small city. So it's all, and what we can say that election actually brings out the best metal out of you. So what you are shown to everyone, and it brings out many things on the surface. So it was great journey. We were all proud of, we were present over there, and it was a proud moment for all of us. And I still have one evening before your photographs you are working, that was a different, like a something minar sort of the corridors, and you are sitting and one of these pillars and talking to you. So I have still that photograph, that tomorrow morning you were the president. So it was a real great thing. And of course, I totally believe that China must have given the all ivory glass crockery, because these things are there in election, because they are being gifted. But always, what I have, like, we learned from you that even in the fight, you have to be principled. What you cannot do, what your consciousness does not allow. So you have not chased the Chinese. You have come out of your own way. And of course, when there is a international politics in the third round, you got the support for the European because of the different reason. So very important that it is a tough thing, and always there are distinct movement. Dr. P.C. Mahapatra always shares with us that I said to Dr. C.N. that you go for the FOGSI FIGO president, not the FIGO treasurer. He always shares in this memory. So there are distinct movement also. But important thing is that even in fight, you didn't compromise your consciousness that what is right to be done, right election campaigning, and be on your own. So very important news that you have been forced to sit down from the Malaysia, that AOFOG Secretary General, but you say that you don't like dictate me to that. A lot of learning point from like listening to you. And finally, when we have a talk, like what you took a great effort to bring the Indian Ob-Gyn as a FICO president in the main platform, be it the chair, co-chair of various committees, be it Indian presence, Indian as well as other countries. We can say the Latin American countries, African countries. We always remember the Brazil, that hello doctor, and Ajay, Dr. Ajay Rane, like going for this, the female genital mutilation. So that conference was totally different. It has a human touch. And of course, Dr. Noza did the wonderful job. So, Dr. Purandare, how could you negotiate? It was a very tough or easy task to put the underdeveloped and the poor country, what they called as a low middle income countries, to the mainstream of FIGO as a faculty, as their presence. So, your experience about it.
Let me be very honest that it was a hard journey. 3 years of very hard times that I had to go through. When I decided on selection of chairpersons and vice chairpersons and the committee members, the 10, 12 committees, whatever they were there, I said that the time before me, if there were 8 people in the committee, there will be probably 8 white. There will be from Canada, America, UK, and many of the European countries. There was anybody else was not on the scene. And I said, this is wrong. It is the International Federation of Gynaecologist. And if you do not have international representation, I think it's unfair and it's wrong to even be called the International Federation when there are no international people. And just because talent too. And I remember when I was selecting people from African region, I won't name people because I will be sued for naming people. People don't like to be named. But one person came up to me and said that you're wasting your time. There is not a single person worth a mention in the African region. I was shocked. And I mean, just come on now. And I mean, Africa is a huge country of countries, and there are people everywhere who are well educated, well capable. The maternal mortality is highest in African region, where we need to look into, and if we don't incorporate those people and to say that there's anybody worth a mention, it would be a tragedy. And believe me, I chose so many people from Africa during in various committees, and they did fantastic job. They did fantastic job. And they apart from one Indian who was in a committee, one or two Indians who were ever in committee of FIGO, there were no Indians ever being selected on any of the committees. And I said that distribution has to happen in all committees. All 5 zones should be represented. And if there are 10 committees, there will be 5 from different zones who will chair the committees. There won't be only 1 or 2 countries which will dominate, and I changed the entire structure of these committees and formation of those committees during my period. A lot of people didn't like it, and means I don't expect them to like it either, because if you deprive what was in their lap all these years suddenly to be given to somebody else, people are not going to like it. And they didn't like it. But it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all. As one senior person said, there are 4 people in the council who you need to humor them all the time if you have to survive as a president. And I said, I am not here to humor anybody. I'm here to do a job as a president of FIGO, and I don't want to humor anybody. Everybody is equal to me in this council. The 4 people gave me hell during my tenure as a president, but it didn't bother me. I said, I will do my job. I will do what is right by me, and I will do right what is for people. And I really don't care what the other people think, what it meant really to do that. But anyway, so in the end, we had some fantastic. We have scientific committee chair who knows the area, who did a marvelous job. And I mean, you cannot fault him in any way. And even today, people say that the Brazil's Congress scientific sessions were one of the best ever to be had. And at the end of the session, the profit that FIGO got was £2 million, which is never ever achieved. And attendance of over 12,000 delegates at FIGO, that was never ever seen. And you look at some of the committee chairs, for example, in oncology. We did so much work on oncology during those 3 years. Cervical cancer staging, we changed to the better. The WHO side event that took place, and what that has culminated into 90-70-90 that has come out from WHO, which was FIGO's doing, which was doing by Nirja Batla and myself during that tenure of FIGO. So all that is, I'm a satisfied soul. I don't care whether people liked it or they didn't like it. I am a satisfied soul that I did what was best for FIGO. And I brought all the other countries, Africa, India for that matter, on various committees that were there, the committee chairs, the deputy chairs, or whatever that were there, that we have the talent. And India came on the map there, that we have the talent. And it's not, when I keep on saying that I visited 60-70 countries during that period, and nobody, I'm very emphatic about that nobody is as good as the Indian surgeons.
Okay. Great. So we could feel it like throughout your presidential years. And what is what you said about FOGSI, that you same followed with the FIGO. So FOGSI, you said that you picked up the talent, good people from all over the country. It is not right from any place or anything. And with FIGO, it is so very, very important that you brought not only India. India was your country, but you brought Africa, you brought the Latin American countries, and that actually has set the precedent. We really hope and believe that once you said that president, the future president cannot omit, actually, because once you have like worked on it, they have proven their excellence, and now the future president has to, FIGO president, whosoever it becomes, they will have to accept that the all countries get the equal representation, and that is the change. Actually, that is not a small change, that is a very, very big change, and it gives so much of confidence in the countries, because all countries, because it is the organization of medical, we are doctors, and health of every person is important. So it was something very, very remarkable. We have like personally, I have really appreciated that to great extent, and we know that it is never so easy. You always have the people who bring obstacle and they ignore you and they may be aggressive to you, but important thing is that you have the clear vision what you have to do. And what we say, that of course that pride in Indian doctors, that we are the best, and we should remain our skills and our all human touch and the compassion as a clinician, as a surgeon, as a person, that we are at always remain the best of the medical doctors. So finally, you said that you are a satisfied soul, because of course, because you have accomplished every responsibility with a great determination, with a great zeal, and it is not 100, it is 110%. So Dr. Purandare, what next? We all see you as a mentor figure, as a father figure, as an elder figure in the FOGSI and the FIGO and the other organization. What is your message to all of us, that if we want to be excellent doctor, excellent surgeon, as well as want to do a very organized and a work for our country in professional body, how we can make us powerful, empowered, and we make our professional body very, very powerful?
First of all, let me tell you something. Hard work, and hard work pays. There is no substitute for hard work. Whatever you want to do, there must be full commitment. You must put your heart and soul into whatever you're doing. Then only you can succeed, and you will get satisfaction. If you're not going to do that, you are not going to get satisfied in the end. To what you may achieve a figure, it's like musical chairs that happens in politics. Somebody is chief minister one day, next day is gone, somebody else comes in. But that's not something which gives you satisfaction in the end, because you need to really be in a position to deliver the goods. To whatever promises that you make, we should be able to fulfill those promises when you go ahead and go further. So my advice to those who are don't think in terms of just holding a position. And I mean, that is not the end all of anything, end all of everything. And it's not just because you are president of whatever, and you must hope to become the best. Only one person becomes the president of India, but that doesn't mean you should not make the effort to become the president of India. It's if you decide to be the president of your local society, then you'll probably become president of your lane or Lions Club or whatever. And I mean, unless you have to think big, you have to think big, and you have to work hard for it, and you will succeed. And I'm sure the younger generation has a great future in our country as well as going abroad. And you find that even in Britain today, 40% of the doctors are our Indian doctors who are managing the entire situation. So it's something which is hard work and dedication which makes the difference. in the end, and one must go ahead and do that. And I'm sure looking forward. Now we have a FIGO Paris coming up in October. I'm sure people will come in large numbers, but they must come there not only to educate but to enjoy life. And I mean, they will be in their evening. There will be things like that. And I mean, camaraderie is something which is very important. And respect, mutual respect for everybody who's around you is important. And you can't undermine, you can't bring down people. And that's not the solution to your greatness. You will be when you are above all this, then only your greatness will be shown. Otherwise, your greatness will not be shown. So that's really what it is. And I'm giving the FIGO oration, B.N.Purandare oration, which is a FOGSI oration, which was started in 2018 by us, and it's there now till today. I don't know what FIGO will do next year. They might say scrap it, and you know how things are. So I'm sure there are enough people who have enough voice to say no. Everybody has to be respected. Somebody who has the first Indian president was B.N.Purandare, and I think he has done great work as a surgeon, as administrator, as a FOGSI president, as a FIGO president, or whatever it is. We are only small people when you talk about such big people and their contribution that has happened in international arena, when in the situations where they were working in adverse circumstances. We are not so much in adverse circumstances now. And 10 years down the line, you all will not be as bad as the circumstances that are there today. So with the better circumstances, you have a better chance to put forward, but in adverse circumstances to come up is not easy. And I think that's what the key is, to really put your best foot forward and work which will satisfy yourself, and you should enjoy at the end of it, that whatever you have done, you have enjoyed doing it.
Thank you very much. So it is about the ultimate essence of life, which actually leads to you to the top position as well. It is comradeship. It is mutual respect. It is about enjoying the fights, enjoying up and down, and enjoying all the things which is coming to you, because that makes your determination, like your road, more clear. So it is the final way what we can say. And Dr. C.N.Purandare, what next you are looking for? It is for us what you have told. Yes, we are inspired to do the 110% hard work, dedication, having vision, mutual respect, involving everybody. And what you
Well,
in the life.
Sadhana, when I look at it, I don't think I have anything more to achieve at this point of time. And my great passion has been teaching and education, and now I have the little bit of whatever time that I have. I have now started a series of books, which they will be FOGSI publication. The royalty will go to FOGSI, and they are topics in obstetrics and gynecology. And I have chosen about 16 or 18 topics on which we will write. I have asked people to contribute, and as a chief editor, we'll work on it and make sure that it is up to date and with the best, latest information that is available for average gynecologists as well as postgraduate students. I'm not interested in writing a 5,000-page book which you have on the table, which you can't even open. I am going to prepare books which are 200 pages, and those 200 pages anybody can finish in 2 days reading in the night and update their knowledge in the subject. And I am at it at the moment, and hope that I am able to produce these books to enlighten the FOGSI education.
So that is once a teacher, always a teacher. We look forward to your this thing, and this is yes, that is like we can have really your wisdom, all the things that what you achieve. It is not the like 5,000 book, and it is like readable and usable by every cadre of obstetrician and gynecologist. My suggestion is to you that you write your autobiography, because your experience, what your vivid memory, how you like narrate it, that is something always, I always find a time whenever I find that I have 2 minutes even to be with you, that teaches a lot of things. And hopefully you also work on your autobiography, your all experiences, and that will be a great asset to all of us. That will be interesting story, that will be inspiring story, and that will have the, like we will have always the record of all these your experiences, that how you could stood erect and higher in all the adverse circumstances. So thank you very much, Dr. C.N.Purandare. It was really something, a great and memorable evening for all of us. Hope all viewers must have enjoyed.
Sadhana, you are asking me to write an autobiography, yes. But let me tell you something. There'll be at least a dozen people who will be frightened if I start writing my autobiography. But anyway,
you never cared for that. That will be, you have that narrative, and what a vivid memory. It is like it is going through the life, like we have gone through all these phases. It was really great. So thank you once again for your precious time, and we are looking forward for your books, which we were not aware that you are on these books at this point of time, and we look forward that you contribute all over the world in FIGO and FOGSI, that is your democratic value, mutual respectful value, because we really need you more than ever nowadays, your presence and your words. So thank you very much. Thank you all the viewers for being with us, and we will share the recording of this interview. This is actually a memorable win. It should be like in our FOGSI library as well, this interview, which tells a lot about one of legendary figure in the FOGSI, FIGO, in field of Ob-Gyn and as a human being. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sadhana.
Thank you. So we can say good evening, sir. Have a lovely evening. And so Piyush, you can make it offline.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm ending the meeting. Have a great evening, sir. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.